Time now to take a look at the French newspapers with Florence Villeminot. Hello, Florence.
Hi, Claire.
How are they reacting then to that press conference by François Hollande?
Well, as you can imagine, all the press today is picking it apart, trying to see just how he did yesterday. Let's start by looking at Libération, which says that Hollande sort le grand jeu, which I guess you could translate as Hollande pulls out all the stops, except for it's a play on words in France because, as you can see, jeu there is written J-E, which means me, because in fact, the whole point of the exercise yesterday was for François Hollande to put himself in the spotlight, defend his policies, and to, in a way, justify the fact that he's president of France, especially because he's at a record low in opinion polls. So this was very much a PR campaign for the French president. In their editorial, Libération points out just what a solemn event this was. It says that the president was very commanding, he was authoritative, and in a way, he put to rest the idea that he is a normal president. This is what he tried to put forward during his presidential campaign, that he was Monsieur Normal. Now, Libération applauds François Hollande, says that he pulled it off, but regrets the fact that he didn't go further on certain issues. For instance, according to Libération, he didn't lay out a very clear vision of just where he wants the EU to go.
And the Catholic newspaper La Croix also thinks that he did a pretty good job. He was pretty convincing.
That's right. Here it is on the cover of La Croix today. Hollande assume. So Hollande assumes his responsibility. Now, La Croix points out that though this was a press conference for journalists, it was in fact a rendezvous with French citizens in general, and indeed European partners as a whole. And so in their editorial, they also wonder, did he succeed? And they say, yes, he did, insofar as he did manage during this long press conference to explain and defend his 6 months in office.
Other papers, though, not quite as impressed, including Le Figaro, the right-leaning paper.
That's right, the right-leaning newspaper. As you can imagine, they say, le tournant, c'est pas maintenant. So the shift isn't for now, and that's a play on words on François Hollande's campaign slogan, which was le changement, c'est maintenant, change is now. Now, the right had been hoping that Hollande was going to have a shift in policy away from the far-left socialist policies, and it seemed like recently he had been going towards this shift. For instance, last week, the government put forward a plan to increase competitiveness here in France, and that included cutting labor costs by increasing the value-added tax. Now, Le Figaro, in their editorial, point out that during his press conference, François Hollande made it very clear that he is, in fact, very much the same man that ran for president 6 months ago. So he says that this shift hasn't happened yet. And so Le Figaro says that, okay, maybe he didn't shift, but he has zigzagged a lot of the way in the past 6 months. It's interesting to see how the far left is reacting, though, because they actually think that this shift has occurred. They believe that Hollande has shifted towards the right, towards neoliberalism. So there you see the cover of L'Humanité today that says, in the fear of the market. So that's how the communist newspaper sees his press conference yesterday. It was all in fear of the markets. And in their editorial, L'Humanité also makes fun of, or pokes fun rather, at Hollande's campaign slogan. They say that he's pushed all change until much later.
And the business paper Les Echos also talks about François Hollande changing.
That's right. If you look at the front page of Les Echos today, it says that Hollande admits that the government needs reform. And so, according to Les Echos, this is a sign of change for Hollande. He said that the problem is the weight of public spending in France. And that's surprising for a socialist president. Now, he defended cutting social charges for employers, all the while saying that his priority is to fight unemployment. And so, in their editorial, Les Echos says that this is proof that a social liberal is at the Élysée Palace right now. So that's what they're saying that he's transformed himself into. He's more of a realist than past socialist presidents, but he still puts the idea of social justice as a priority in his policies.
Now, the focus at the press conference was on the economy, but obviously he also talked about, he was asked quite a bit about foreign policy issues. What are the papers saying about that?
Well, the two very interesting articles in L'Humanité, first of all, on the situation in Mali. Now, Hollande repeated that he was in favor of giving logistic support to any African-led military operation. And L'Humanité looks at how one of the key players in the region is reacting, and that's Algeria. Syria, which has a border in common with Mali, which is 1,400 kilometers long. Algeria is still hoping for a political solution to the crisis, and it says that it will close its borders if there's any military intervention. Regarding Syria, L'Humanité has another interesting article. Now, Hollande, of course, became the first European power to recognize Syria's new opposition coalition as the sole representative. Yesterday, the foreign minister met in Cairo with representatives to explore all options.
Okay, thank you very much, Florence, for taking us through the French newspapers.